Shalom, welcome to Practical Spirituality here in the holy city of Jerusalem. You know, it's important that you're going to die. Really important, because if you weren't going to die, you wouldn't really have your running shoes on and like move forward with any kind of motivation. So you're knowing that you're going to die, and also it helps that you don't know when exactly. It's very helpful because, you know, it makes you a little more careful. The problem with the beginning of history is people were living like hundreds of years. So adolescence could be, you know, quite a long time. You know, like before you're even thinking about death, you're already like 300, 400, 500 years old. I think God didn't like the way things were turning out, and he finally decided after the 10th generation, when we got to Noah, that life should be no more than 120 years. And that way, the time you would spend fooling around would be as little as possible. It's funny, Jordan Peterson doesn't know anything about oral law, so he makes fun of Abraham for hanging around his father's house till he was 75 years old, which is, you know, there's like a couple things you have to know about Abraham from the oral tradition. To know that he wasn't, you know, some kind of Peter Pan who didn't want to grow up. You know, quite the opposite. He was actually a radical. You know, he was a radical and a super rebellious young man, and had no interest hanging around his father's house other than whatever he could glean, because his father happened to be the Gadol Hador. Terach was the Gadol Hador. He was the great of the generation. And when you're the child of the great of the generation, you spend as much time as you can with them, because that's going to give you the knowledge base to be an Abraham. You know, Abraham only got prophecy at 75. Everything else was either his own realizations, mostly, which were about God and that there is a God, and the meaning above all the gods, and the other is that what he gleaned from 75 years in his father's home, who was his father was, you know, the Mesopotamian elder. And you see, when you grow up, you like heard that he was an idol maker, but what you've neglected to think about is the fact that those idols had to be infused with the powers of idolatry. And that didn't just mean you're a good carpenter, you know, or good at shaping stone. You understand? You had to know a lot more than just how to shape the thing to create an idol. And Terach was a big deal. And also, you know, a lot of you probably have some negative feelings about idolatry, which is very Jewish to have negative feelings about it, considering there's like so many commandments against it, including death penalty and who kills them exactly, who kills the idolater. It's pretty rough stuff. Many idolaters were very spiritual people. Like even if you go to Hinduism today, filled with idolatry. These are some of the most spiritual people around. Like all the best teachings and all the best books are coming from there. And so we're talking about spiritual people. People are very much into the divine. You know, this I guess is best understood by the famous line that better to be an idolater than an atheist, because at least if you're an idolater, you believe in something other than yourself. And so it just happens to be forbidden to ascribe power to anything other than God. It's forbidden to do that. God is here's the Torah. God is the power that is behind all reality. And as powerful as your Corvette is, God's more powerful. And you're not allowed to ascribe power to anything but the highest power. And anyway, but going back to death, going to funerals is really important. You should really be going to as many funerals as possible. And in fact, our sages tell us that it's more important, if you have a choice between a wedding and a funeral, go to the funeral. Go to the funeral because the funeral offers a GPS for your life. Funerals offer GPS for your life. Why? Because it's the final destination. It's the final destination, when you GPS anything, so you're looking at, it's telling you how to get there, gives you alternative routes and stuff, but no matter what the alternative routes could give you, Waze usually offers 3 alternative routes to your destination. But death is the final destination. And, when you're a little older, you got more funerals to go to. And so you're getting constant reminders. But the problem is when you're young, you don't really have a lot of people dying on you. So you're not really showing up to a lot of funerals. And as a result, it's easy for death to get a little blurry. And if death's blurry, so then you don't exactly put your running shoes on and start thinking more seriously about where you're heading. But all of us are heading there, and hopefully it's going to take a nice long time, and that's up to you, and that's not up to you. It's up to you to protect your body, and especially your spirit, because the key to a long life for most people is that your spirit is protected more than your body. Someone whose spirit is protected, can live a nice long life, because when your spirit's protected, what's your spirit? It's timeless. It's a soul. So if you're constantly protecting your conscious meditative state of soul, you don't age really. I mean, your body ages, but you're not really going with it too much. And the body tends to work well for you if you stay connected spiritually. And also, obviously, diet and sleep. Sleep's probably one of the most important. No one should expect to live long if they're cheating sleep. But the thing is that there are people who, I don't want to forget mentioning that God knows when everyone's going to die. So you can't really defy that. I mean, you can be in the best shape in the world, sleep well and everything, and then have a grand piano fall on you from 40 stories up, because the moving company didn't attach it properly. How would you like to die under a grand piano? This is better than dying under a boulder or something. So you never know when you'll die. God knows when you'll die. You can make it earlier, and you can make it later. And there's also just when it's your time to go, God will remove you from this planet. It's important to be hyper aware of your death, but not hyper aware that you're obsessing about it, just very aware that it could be any time. And you want to be clean before you die, which means you want to do tshuva before the day you die. And you don't want to avoid the subject. On the other hand, you don't want to cause trauma with it. So you got to be careful not to traumatize yourself with it. Like, for example, you don't want to watch a lot of death. Certainly stay away from death that's being produced on screens and movies and anything like that. You don't want to look at that kind of death. But funerals are a good place to go. The nice thing about funerals is generally what they do is someone gets up there and eulogizes all the good attributes of the person while crying. And hearing someone cry about the good attributes of their father or their brother or their parent is good to hear, because all of us are developing our good attributes, but you don't have a chance to hear someone cry about it very much. It's good to hear someone cry about having good traits, and that kind of sets you up a little bit for that, for getting your head on straight when it comes to death. It's said that your whole life is preparation for your death. Why? Because you ever lose something? You ever have something taken from you and you're really violated, like you're really pissed off that someone took something from you? You ever had that? And you're like, whatever. It's hard to recover from that when someone, steals your stuff. Then there's like the LA fires where everyone lost all their stuff, but they still have their bodies. They still have their loved ones. So everything was taken away from those people with the exception of their loved ones. But then there's losing everything, including all your loved ones, and staying alive for that. That would be horrible, right? Like, if you lost all your loved ones, wouldn't you want to be also gone? If you lost everything you had, including all your loved ones, do you really want to be around after that? I had an interesting thought. This has no basis in reality, and it's against the prophecies, but that this Israel we live in today, being gone, meaning that is the goal of all the Arabs, right? And there's plenty of Westerners also who would love for Israel to disappear. So what if they actually succeeded? What if they got us out of the land of Israel? Alive, you're alive. Now you're back in your hometown where you grew up. You want to live in that world? Where'd you grow up?
Bayonne, New Jersey.
Where in New Jersey?
Bayonne.
Bayonne. How would you like to be back in Bayonne, New Jersey, and Israel no longer exists? There's nothing here. Just a bunch of Arabs waving flags. You want to be around for that? Would you rather die? I've thought about this a lot. I personally think, I used to say it, I think it's still true. I would rather not be alive for that. We wed this land and pledged our souls to meet its end. We wed this land and pledged our souls to meet its end. You have come to move me, take me from my ancient home. Land of my fathers, I won't leave you now. We will share it with you. No man owns this earth we're on. So, anyway, but guess what? Every one of us is going to die. Which means you're not going to actually die, meaning you'll stay totally aware because your awareness has nothing to do with your body. You think you wouldn't be aware if we could somehow get rid of all your senses right now? If we could get rid of all your senses, of course, if we took off if we got a pitch black for you, you would still be able. Yeah, you'd be totally aware. But if we could even get aware of the fact that you're aware that it's dark, meaning just get rid of all senses, would you still be totally here? Yeah, you're totally here. So your experience of life has nothing to do with your body. Your body, if anything, is just stimulating your awareness. But your awareness will outlive your life, which means everything is going to get taken from you while you're still alive. Meaning you're not going to be alive physically. Meaning when you die, you lose it all. And your whole life's preparation for that. Are you ready to lose everything you got, including everyone you love? Because obviously it's because you're dying, but to you, you're having everything taken away. Everything. But everything. And then it's just going to be lights out, and then lights on in the next world, but you ready for that? You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
You ready? Are you ready to lose everything? Some people are ready. You ready to lose everything? You ready to lose everything? Not so much. Bro? Not so much. Okay, now I'm going to ask you all a question. Let's just say, hypothetically, that you're losing everything next 5 minutes. Meaning, I don't know what, it's a meteor is going to land or, wipe out human existence on this planet in 5 minutes. What's your biggest regret? Right now, everybody think. What's your biggest regret? If you died in 5 minutes, if we all just got text messages that a meteor is going to land in 5 minutes, and the whole entire Earth's going to be wiped out, what's your biggest regret?
Not having done the tshuva.
What's your biggest regret?
Not having done tshuva.
Not having done tshuva. Oh my gosh.
I think only the reverse, not forgiving more often.
Not having forgiven, meaning you held on to stuff. Yeah, what's
Not
it?
sharing my love enough.
What?
Not sharing my love enough with my closest people.
Whoa. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm not saying. Someone is not doing. I got the microphone. Not doing tshuva. One person said, not coming back to God. One person said, not forgiving enough. One said, not sharing my love enough. Yeah.
Probably not doing tshuva or not getting close enough to Hashem.
Yeah.
I would say something with my mom. Pretty much the same as
Not getting close enough to God. Not just giving your mom the love that you'd like to give her, or family. Yeah.
Maybe not spending enough time creating music.
Not enough time creating music.
Say, wasting so much time.
Wasting time. And mine would be not having impacted more people. And the next question, you ready for this one? What do you if you could press pause and get one thing done? Like you're given one thing to get done. With an unlimited amount of time, meaning a year or two, like you're given 2 years to get one thing done. Like God comes to you in prophecy and says, listen, you're dead in 25? You're dead in 2027. What's the one thing you'd want to get done in your life? You got 2 years. It's one thing you're just gonna be so much better off knowing you got that done. Kind of answers that. You're good. Yeah.
Get done in was the one thing.
Bring Mashiach. You don't have to know.
Probably.
You may not know.
I don't know if I were to guess. It's just. I mean, at that point, if you only have 2 years, achievements don't matter anymore.
No, something you want to get done. Like you don't want to not get that. I'll tell you mine. Mine's very simple. I have 3 kids left to marry off. So I don't know if I can marry off my 14-year-old in 2 years, but definitely my 2 daughters above him. That would be my only goal. My only goal. And when I had my life at risk, I was chill about my marrieds, and I was very not chill about my singles. Yeah. Anyone else got something they would want to? Yeah. They have had a child.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Really, to have had a child more than getting married. Interesting. Whoa, that's powerful. That's powerful. More than getting married, they would have liked to have had a child.
Includes getting married.
Includes it, but that's not what they said. Wow. Powerful. Anyway. So that's what I'm saying. By focusing in on death, you can really put a fire under your behind and get moving. Get those running shoes on. And Jordan Peterson makes fun of how people, many people think between 18 and 30, you're you got a free pass during those years. And he's like, we're kind to 18 to 22, meaning while they're in college learning basket weaving or women's studies or something. So like, he's like, we're kind with those people till they're about 22. We're okay with them till about 25 while they're figuring out what they're going to do for a living. He says, but by 30, everyone wants to know at that point, like, where the hell you been? You know, like don't try to show up for a job at 30 without having to explain some good explanations. And he said, like, the world's just not kind to 30-year-olds who don't have an explanation.
I think it was over 40.
Yeah, a lot of people think 40 is the deadline. Anyway, but that's another mini deadline, is 30s, where the society's patience is gone. You understand? 30s, like, there's no more patience for someone who was twiddling their thumbs till 30 years old. You know, and by the way, it's really hard to get yourself going at 30 if you waited that long to get moving. So that's another thing. Like, it's a little mini death. 30 is like a little mini death, where you gotta kind of have a few years of having been doing something, you know, developing something by 30. Yeah, that's not time off. Another good thing is not everyone can do this, but is to get married young is good. You know, if you can get married young, it's a lot easier to raise kids when you're young. You know, like when you're my age with kids in the house, you're just like, who are these people? Why do they look like me? Why do they keep looking toward me for nurturing? You know, like, oh my gosh. Today, there was no one in our house. I have 2 kids living out of the house, meaning they're both boarding for school, and I have one daughter in the house, but she's babysitting this week by her sister, who's, I don't know, her husband's out of the country. So it's just the 2 of us in the house. And we're just kind of staring at each other, going, guess this is what it's like, you know? And it was just like, I think the most fun we've had in so long, you know, just doing absolutely nothing, but just having no one asking us for anything, and us being able to share the love that we started with, you know, just without any distraction. Please click the subscribe and all that stuff, and make sure it's my channel you're subscribing to, Rabbi Yom Tov. And blessing to everyone, and that's Lachla, and let's all get moving.